Hi guys, welcome back to a new video. Now I would like to explain to all of you about a lot of the vocabulary that we saw in the tale of Peter Rabbit. Now I have to be honest, I haven't included absolutely everything. It's very hard to know if all you guys, what you know, what you don't know. But I've included a lot of words that I think would be useful for a lot of you learners out there. And it's a way for you to enrich your vocabulary and to start speaking more like a native speaker of English. So we're about to start. If you didn't see the first video of me reading The Tale of Peter Rabbit, I do recommend listening to the story first, and then you can come to this video and learn important vocabulary from it. So without further ado, let's get started. Underneath the root of a very big fir tree. As you know, the root is the thing that connects the tree. It goes from the ground and it goes all the way up into the tree. This is the root, okay? All trees have roots. They go deep down into the ground. Underneath the root of a very big fir tree. Underneath. The word underneath is exactly the same way as saying under. It's just a more elegant way of saying it. For example, I think your cat is underneath the table, or I think the child is hiding underneath the bed. Next one. You may go into the fields or down the lane. You may. We use the modal verb may for many different situations, but in this case we are giving permission. You may do this. Or for example, your child could say, Dad, may I go out this evening? And you might say, you may not, or you may. Now run along and don't get into mischief. Run along is something that English people often say to their children when they want them to go and play, or maybe the parents are tired of their children, so they say, go on, run along now, run along. It basically just means to go and play. And don't get into mischief. Mischief means don't get into trouble. We also have the word mischievous. Some people say mischievous, some people say mischievous, but the correct word actually is mischievous. It's a child who is naughty. The noun is mischief. Next one. She bought a loaf of brown bread and 5 currant buns. Currant buns is something that we often eat in England. They're very nice. If you go to England, you have to try them. They're basically buns with currants in. They're very tasty. Flopsy, Mopsy and Cottontail, who were very good little bunnies, went down the lane to gather blackberries. The verb gather means to collect. Okay, so if you go to the forest, you might say, today I want to gather mushrooms, or I want to gather some berries. It means collect. But Peter, who was very naughty, ran straight away to Mr. McGregor's garden and squeezed under the gate. Straight away means right now. Now. So I could say, I want you to do your homework straight away. It's another way of saying right now. And here it says, he squeezed under the gate. The verb squeeze can mean like this. You squeeze something. For example, I'm going to squeeze the pen, or I'm going to squeeze my hand. This is squeeze. But also we can use it if you're trying to get under a very little gap and you squeeze under it. You try and get under it, and it might be difficult. Next one. And then, feeling rather sick, he went to look for some parsley. Rather. Many people say rather, but it's rather. Rather. You should hear like a vibration. The. Rather. Rather you can use with an adjective to say a little bit. For example, I could say, oh, I'm feeling rather sick at the moment. It means I'm feeling a little bit sick, or a little bit more than a little bit, okay? I could also say, your picture, wow, the picture you painted is rather good. It means it is quite good. So depending on how you say it, could be a little bit. I could say, oh, this is rather spicy. So it could be it's a little bit spicy, or a little bit more than a little bit. But he jumped up and ran after Peter, waving a rake and calling out, stop, thief. If you wave something, it means that you move it in the air. So he was waving a rake. A rake is something that you use to basically collect the leaves from your garden. So he was waving a rake. Peter was most dreadfully frightened. He rushed all over the garden. Dreadfully, dreadfully. This is also to make the word frightened even more serious. So I could say, oh, I'm dreadfully sorry about what happened to you. I'm dreadfully sorry. Or I'm dreadfully tired. It means you're very tired. He lost one of his shoes among the cabbages and the other shoe amongst the potatoes. In actual fact, you can use among and amongst exactly the same. Native speakers use both among and amongst. You can use them exactly the same. I think he might have got away altogether if he had not unfortunately run into a gooseberry net. Now, here it says here, he might have got away altogether. Now, in this case, it's talking about the past, and it's talking about like a hypothetical situation. So he might have got away, but he didn't. So it's talking about something that could have happened, but it didn't. You can also say he may have got away altogether if he had not unfortunately run into a gooseberry net. A gooseberry is a type of berry, and run into is a phrasal verb, meaning that you run and then something is in your way. So you can also say, last week in the town I ran into an old friend of mine. It doesn't literally mean you run into him, it means that you meet him by chance. In this case, it's literal. He was running and then he went into that. Peter gave himself up for lost and shed big tears, but his sobs were overheard by some friendly sparrows, who flew to him in great excitement and implored him to exert himself. Now here there's a lot of vocabulary, so get ready. Number one, he gave himself up for lost. If you give yourself up for lost, it means that you think that everything has gone bad and that's it. It's over. Oh, I give myself up for lost. It means there's no remedy, there's no solution to this. He shed big tears. You shed a tear. When you're crying, you can say you shed tears or you shed a tear. This is the verb. But his sobs were overheard. Sobs is also when you're crying. Oh. I could say, oh, I'm sorry, I'm sobbing. Or my mum could say, look, I don't want to see your sobs. So they were overheard by some friendly sparrows. Sparrows are a type of bird, who flew to him in great excitement and implored him to exert himself. You implore somebody to do something. So I could say, I implore you to really study harder. I implore you. Or I implore you to go and talk with this person who's giving you problems. I implore you. It means I really think you should do this. I really want you to do this. You implore someone to do something. To exert himself. If you exert yourself, it means that you basically show your whole character and you are not scared, and you basically tell somebody that what you think is right and you're not going to take no for an answer. So you need to exert yourself. Say, for example, at work, your boss is giving you lots of work and you're not happy about this. I could say, well, I'm sorry, you need to exert yourself. You need to express yourself and tell your boss that what he's doing is wrong, or she. So you need to exert yourself, have confidence in yourself. And finally, in this last part of the video, I'm also going to do another video with more vocabulary, but in the last example in this video is the following. Mr. McGregor came up with a sieve, which he intended to pop upon the top of Peter, but Peter wriggled out just in time, leaving his jacket behind him. So he came up with a sieve. A sieve is an object that we use, for example, to find gold. You put a sieve in the water and you try and find the big pieces of gold in the water. A sieve is also used in the garden. Okay, so it's basically used for like filtering out soil and getting big pieces that stay on the top and the fine pieces in the bottom. I don't actually think I've ever used a sieve in my life, but anyway, that's what we call a sieve. The pronunciation is sieve. It looks like it's sieve, but it's a sieve. sieve, which he intended to pop upon the top of Peter. In this case, pop means put upon the top of Peter. Pop. So I could also say, for example, can you pop this on? Or it means, can you wear this? So to your child, you could say, right, we're going outside into the garden. Come on, pop your coat on. Pop your coat on. Pop your coat on. It means put your coat on. But Peter wriggled out just in time. Wriggle is like, when you're trying to get away. Say, for example, right now I'm having to give a dog medicine because unfortunately the dog is ill, and I'm trying to give the dog medicine through the mouth, everything. It's very difficult, and the dog is constantly wriggling. The dog is wriggling to get away. So I could say, stop wriggling. It means trying to move away from someone. So Peter wriggled out just in time, leaving his jacket behind him. In any case, this is the end for now. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you learned something from it. If you did like it, please give me a like. If you liked it, that's only fair. And I really hope that I will see you in the next video, where I will continue to explain more key vocabulary from The Tale of Peter Rabbit. And please subscribe if you'd like to see more of my videos. I'm planning on doing a lot of videos about lots of different books and teaching you English through reading, which I'm sure many of you love. And yeah, I look forward to seeing you back in the next video with Read with Ridge. Thanks very much.